Hello, welcome to episode 12, where we're going to be talking about shadow work and traumas. My name is Jill Petrie. I'm a psychic medium.
And my name is Frank, and I am a mystic guide coach. And so tonight, yeah, that's a very special episode that we have prepared for you guys. The shadow work and traumas. I think those are two topics that are on everybody's lips. As far as I can tell, when I go in groups and stuff, that's what everybody's. There are those that are looking, and there are those that are pushing, if you will. But those come back a lot. And there's a reason for that. They're actually both very central to our existence. I, I think we both agree on that.
Yep, we agree.
It
Yes, of course.
happens, see? And so, yeah, those are very, very important aspects. Now, I'll let Jill give us a sort of a maybe a description of what uh how would you tackle those two topics? Like what would be important for people to know about those? Where should we start?
Um,
Because it's a
let's
vast
start with,
topic.
with the slogan: Fix your
Okay.
shit and positive will follow.
That's
Famous
for now.
words of
That's our thing,
Frank.
guys. That is our slogan for the moment. And actually, I think do we have T-shirts that say that or
I don't think they're in the store yet.
okay? But we have T-shirts actually, guys.
Hmm.
We have a store. We have I mean, it's not. Look, you're probably not going for the. They're nice. But you're not. What you're doing is helping us really. Like we appreciate any help we can get because we're just starting out. And well, let's face it. This is in this day and age, we may need a little bit of help. So, anyways, that's one way we've thought of. And so, yeah, traumas. Uh, let's start with traumas. Here's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna say right from the start. Here's the thing with traumas. I always tell people, like, really, if you want to work traumas, I always tell people make sure there's somebody that you can speak to, somebody that's with you, were like walking a little bit your path. In my case, it was therapists, it was social workers, like it went around that sort of like because they get a training on how to deal with trauma. Because sometimes when you open that can of worm that's called traumas, um, like weird stuff can come out of there, stuff that hurts. And the thing is, if you're alone and you don't have a good support group, you don't have anybody with you, those moments can get really painful really quick. And if you're stuck not knowing where to go with them, uh, at that point, I don't know how much I recommend going and digging in those places.
Hmm.
That being
And
said, you know, it's
sometimes we
important.
just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. I mean, that's the very yes, absolutely. You bring up a very good point. That's most of us at most times. I would venture. Um, I used an expression today. It was funny. We talked about. Anyways, something that happened with neighbors of mine, whatever, and we talked about an individual when that happened. The thing I told you earlier. Sorry, guys, it involves people in real life, so I don't want to. But um, we were talking about a person that is very reactive because they have a lot of traumas,
Hmm.
and I was like, it's kind of like walking in a pinball machine, right? You just have no idea when you're walking because
Right.
the
And you
the
don't know
person
when
was
you're going to get
saying
hit.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna hit a trigger somewhere. There's always triggers. It's like they're everywhere, and you just don't know. So you're like, okay, well, I'm not gonna move as much as I like. You know what I mean? It it's not healthy. Like that is not good. But those are the things that traumas do to us, and we react in all different ways. But here's an interesting thing, though. And it's part of how traumas can be remedied as well sometimes. Now, in my case, as a coach, the way I approach trauma is on a per need basis, right? If you have a trauma, and it assumes that you've sort of looked at the big traumas in your life because we all have certain ones that are like very defining.
Hmm.
In my case, I mean, I don't care. I'm an open book. So in my case, I started getting beat up by a neighbor when I was 2 years old. I mean, that is a defining moment in somebody's life, right? That destroyed a whole lot of hopes that I could have had as a baby, as a toddler. Um, but I mean, and it destroyed a lot of like the stability I should have known at in life. Like it really got affected by that. But it's something I had to face at some point, and something I had to accept in myself. There's a lot of ways where I had to accept that there was going to be differences about me from the average person and the way they function because I had not received the same education, the same nurturing, the same encouragement, the same, a lot of that stuff I had to go get myself. I had to say, hey, like everybody else seems to be doing okay. Like what do they know that I don't? Right? And that's how so facing those traumas, like they'll come up in your life at times, right? And usually not at the good times. They'll come up at the worst times, and they'll come up in the worst ways unless you're kind of willing to face them and you're willing to look at them. And so being willing to look at them and going looking for them is two different things, though. So that's where in coaching I always say, if we're working on something and in our action plan, when you go to do the thing you want to do, whatever it is, let's say it involves public speaking. It's a simple example. uh, every time you go to you want to be a public speaker, but every time you go to book a gig, something happens. You derail. You avoid the person. You start. I don't know. You need to clean your apartment and you miss the meeting, or there's always something. Well, all of a sudden we can stop and look at, okay, what happened when you were supposed to go to that meeting and you decided instead that it would be more important to clean your house or to whatever it is you decided to do instead, right? And what you can identify is actually a physical symptom. Now, there's a part in the body, so you bring back the person to that moment. Like, how we have that ability. Well, I don't know if everybody knows, but we do have this ability when we close our eyes and when we think about it to bring ourselves back into that moment when we were feeling, we were like, okay, I should go to that place, but too bad I'm going to do this. And when you bring yourself back in that moment, if the question is asked, if you go, where does it feel in my body, that feeling? You'll find somewhere in your body, and it can be like, I've seen, my left hand, my whatever, like it can be any part of the body. It's not people assume a lot of it does go around the chest for a lot of people, but it's not always. You'd assume it would be, but no, it's everywhere. And now, when you've identified that physical feeling, now you stick with that. And that's important because that is where the trauma is stored. So traumas get stored in bits and pieces of your body. I don't know if there's a physical correlation. I don't know if it's fat. I don't know if it goes in any part of our body, but it. And then when you ask the person after. You say, stay in that feeling, like remain there, and you start asking them when was, and the question is very important to be phrased this way, but it's when was the very first time that you experienced that feeling in your life? And you let the person sit with it. Sometimes it's going to take time, and that's tough on a coach sometimes too, is
Mhm.
to ask that kind of question and give space, right? As like give them 2 minutes if it takes to answer. But eventually the person kind of comes back from wherever they went and they go, holy fuck, man. Oh, sorry. They come back and they go, oh my God, like this happened when I was a kid, right? Like, I went on a stage and I there was a kid I really liked or whatever, right? And when I got on the stage, he laughed at me, and ever since then, I was never able to go on a stage. And now they're an adult and they're trying to book speaking engagements that are super important. They have something to offer, they have something to say, but they keep on blocking every time they're going for an engagement. And so what you do is you've now identified where it's from and what it is. So now you thank it. You say, okay, well, thank you for being there. Because at the time when I liked little Bobby and everybody laughed at me or whatever happened, you protected me because you prevented me from going again and making a fool out of myself. Granted, I was a child. I didn't know how to handle the people laughing. I'm not a child anymore today. I'm okay with going on stage now. It doesn't matter what those people think, whatever, right? And now you start reframing it. And you start going, okay, so when this feeling happens to me today, how do I want to react? What reaction do I want to attach to it? And now you attach a new reaction and you say, when that happens, I want to stop. I want to remember where I'm from. Like, I want to remember that this is where it came from, this feeling, but I'm good today. And so I'm going to, almost double my effort maybe, or I'm going to, get this little boost of energy from it by going, wow, I have, so when the feeling comes back now, I'm going to remember I have fought this feeling, right? And you're programming this particular idea with, the eyes closed and fully immersed and whatever, and feeling again, let's say my left hand, like I said. And then when we're done, well, now when you have that trigger in your left hand, it triggers a completely different response. And so you're kind of playing with all the triggers that trauma leaves, but you only do it like insofar as they come up when you're coaching on trying to get somewhere. Right? Going and saying, I'm going to dig up all my traumas and deal with them, that is one dangerous endeavor. I think we all have like way too many. So deal with them as they come up. But shadow work is a different story.
Well, that is kind of shadow work in a way, dealing with them as they come up, because each thing that you deal with is part of your shadow work. It's working with what's deep in you that you need to release.
Well, there's a difference between the traumas and the shadows are not stored in the body. The shadows are stored in a part of your sub. They're sort of in your subconscious. What your shadows are, let's say, when you're a kid, every time you get angry, you get scolded. You get told, no, you can't. You're not allowed to get angry. You can't get angry. You can't get angry. It gets repeated, right? And eventually, you internalize being angry is not good, right? That's settled. That's good. Put aside. That's a shadow because you're human. You get angry. End of story. Like every human gets angry.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've repressed your anger. That is part of your shadows. That has now been stored there because it was a behavior that was discouraged. So if you go through your childhood, you go through, but it's even doing that, it's tough to identify them. Where you get to identify your shadows easier is because it's all a mirror game. The people around you, the reason some of the things they do get on your nerves and some of the things they do don't bother you at all is because of who you are. And so when all of a sudden you're constantly reaching certain things that bug you and it's constantly the same ones, you kind of go, okay, well, what is inside of me that represents that I'm trying to not see? Because there's something I'm trying to not, because your psyche finds a way to give you what it is you're ignoring. So it gives it to you in the outside world. If you repress your anger, you're gonna draw angry people. Because somewhere there has to be anger in your life. Like it kind of balances. I don't know how, like exactly how it, but it works. And so those become. There's an example I use. I use it in my video on shadows. I was going in the woods where I go all the time. I think I've mentioned it once or twice. And those. The deer that I see there, I love them. I feed them. I get super along with them. When I was walking and it was in the middle of the pandemic and I was like, oh my God, like are we going to be able to feed ourselves like forever? Like where do I go if all of a sudden there's no food in the grocery stores? What do I do, right? You got to you start asking yourselves those questions. And I went, well, I guess I could always come here and grab one of those, right? And when I said it, in my head, something stopped. And I went like, really? Did I just say that I would come and like, eat Bambi? That's not right. And I was just like, but then I stopped and I said, okay, now I have two choices. And it's the very first time in my life, and I think the only, that I was literally conscious of making a choice of saying, now I have two choices. I either shove that thought in my shadows and pretend it never happened, but it happened. Or I say, holy shit, there's a part of me that if it came down to it, I could come and kill one of them and eat it. And that's okay too. That's part of my humanity. There's a line for everything, right? That's where I realized I was like, oh, we all have a line somewhere that if it was crossed, we would kill another human. And we're all very ashamed of that line. We've all been made very ashamed that we've ever had a thought like that. But we've all had it. It exists. It's part of us. But we keep it so far. We keep it so buried. We go, no, there's no way I could ever have such a thought. And it's like, no, there is. And it's okay to have it if it remains a thought, if you don't give it more power. You just go, holy wow, that was dark, and you keep moving. You know what I mean? Like I've been angry to a point of thinking like I'm gonna shoot this person, and thinking in my head like, oh, if I could get a gun and da 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 da,
Right.
but
We could
never
seriously
doing
get
it.
banned.
No, they were never actions. Nor do
I
I own
know,
a
but
gun.
just saying your thoughts like that, I think is going to get us banned.
Maybe. All right. But I've had them. But well, yeah, but that's what our shadows are. Well, yeah, that's the problem. It's
Or
our
it might get
shadows.
you locked up.
No. No, that's what our shadows are, is the fact that humanity
They don't
is
all. I mean, not everybody has shadows that deep. I don't think.
no, every human is capable of killing. That's a given.
I know, but not everybody thinks about that. Like,
That's the problem. Nobody thinks about it. Everybody tries to repress it. That's what I'm saying, is that nobody wants to admit that that's who they are. It doesn't mean because you admit to being something that you're going to do that something. Right? I can also jump in the air right now, but I choose not to do it because, well, we're on a podcast. It would make no sense. Which is the same thing. I have the capability as a human. I am capable of very horrible things. But on a daily basis, I choose not to do any of those things. But yes, I have the mechanical capability. I have the, every means necessary that I could just go out tomorrow
So
morning,
choose not to
strangle,
think
like,
about those things. Like, why does that even come up? Like, why are we even talking about this?
that's what shadow work is. The fact that
It's
humanity
bad.
will not accept themselves. That's
Okay,
what
but
makes
let's just
humanity in
describe it in
problem.
a different way. Like, accept yourself in a different way. Not as not going where like
That's shadow work. That's what shadow work is accept all of you, not just the parts that are nice and you like.
yeah,
Because you
it is
repress the
accept
other
all of
parts.
you. But I still don't see a point in talking about that. Like, I'm not
But
comfortable talking about it.
that's our topic is shadow work.
No, shadow work, but not the other stuff you were talking about.
That's shadow work.
Right. Okay, but let's just use a different like
Okay, well we'll talk
example.
about traumas then, because
We
that's
can
shadow
talk
work.
about it, but with a different explain a different way. There's other ways to explain it.
I don't. Well, you tell me then.
Okay. So in my opinion, shadow work would be it is what you said, but I would use a different story. I would maybe use a story such as um it's hard to top your story. Maybe you have thoughts in your mind of um it can be anything. It can be relationship issues that you keep having over and over that use up your energy and your mind. You may want to do some shadow work so you can change your way of thought on those types of issues. Um, I tied into past traumas that you would rather forget happened to you instead of talking about it. Like maybe going to therapy would help you to get that out. Just pretending something didn't happen is like burying it. So to me, shadow work would be remembering those bad things that happened and facing it head on, like dealing with it. So it doesn't matter if you remember it or not, because the memory doesn't hurt you. Like the memory would have hurt you if you had just buried that memory. Make sense?
Why it's because most people do that, and that's mixing shadow work with trauma. They're two
Yeah,
things.
but I kind of mix it. I know it is two things, definitely, but I think they are two things that are very closely related.
It's because most people that talk about it don't talk about it from the standpoint of psychology, and it's a terminology that's from psychology. It's from the system that Carl Jung did, and so you follow his system. The shadow is the part, and they don't even have to be dark parts either. They can be very positive parts. Like in my case, my spirituality was part of my shadows, because I had been told when I was a kid the same as we're told about many other things. Like for most people, most sexual fantasies are in their shadows, right? They're not things they
Right?
would talk about. They're not things they would, because we've been taught to repress those things, that they were
But it could
bad.
also be it could also be sexual abuse in your shadows.
It becomes, no, see, that's the problem. No, sexual abuse will be in your traumas. Like that's going to be a
But
trauma.
that's where the trauma and the shadow relates to me. That's where they go hand in hand because even though that sexual abuse, said sexual
Yes.
abuse would be a trauma, like let's say it was a childhood trauma, as an adult, it would turn into your shadow work because you if you had not dealt with it
Well,
and you
you
just
but
tried
that's
to pretend it didn't happen and you had that memory way back there but you couldn't let yourself think about it, like allowing yourself to think about it would be your shadow work in my opinion.
no, that would be trauma work. That's working your traumas. That's your trauma. Your shadows are things that you have. Like guys that get, we all know friggin' a ton of guys that they get angry. They don't think they get angry. They think they're a nice
Sure.
guy. They go, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't have an anger issue. And it's like, dude, you beat up half the planet every time we say something like that triggers you. What the hell are you talking about? Right? But it's in
Mhm.
their shadows. They do not know that they're an angry person. They have no concept of it. And most of
Mhm.
us have those. And oddly enough, a lot of us could probably name all the shadows that our friends have,
True.
but we could not tell our friends because they would not hear it because it's in their shadows. And that's
Mhm.
something they have to uncover. And you'll notice that those guys, the things that trigger them are typically things they have. And they go, I can't believe this friggin' guy. He came at me and he was all angry and da da da. And you're like, uh huh. But dude, that's what you do. And they're like, oh, no, no. Well, yeah. But they don't know, right? They haven't seen their shadow. They haven't, and it's funny because even as you work shadows, you think like, oh, I've worked my shadows now. And all of a sudden there's another one that hits you in the face and you kind of go, what the heck? Right? Like you and I, we have so many things we disagree on. We have like so many challenges in our personalities, right? Like that becomes a good opportunity for me to do shadow work. I go,
Mhm.
okay, what are the things where we hit each other and what is
That's
it
the
about
role we
me?
have. That's the role we have is to um challenge the other one, I guess. Like help you to overcome things and you help me to overcome things and we kind of like I don't know. I challenge you and then you'll look at it
Yeah.
a different way and agree and then you challenge me and I'll look at it a different way and agree and then we find a whole new meaning to things sometimes.
Well, that's it. And that's that mirror effect. It's because we both mirror each other, right? Like the things that bug you about me, if you say, okay, what bugs me about Frank and what does that mean? It's the weirdest question, but you kind of go, what do I, what bugs me about Frank and what does it mean about me? And what do I like about Frank and what does it say about me? Because the things we like are things that we either are or aspire to be, and the things we dislike are things we don't like about ourselves. So we don't like them. Because why is it that I'll be triggered by one of your behaviors when you have like thousands of other behaviors that I could be triggered with? Why not those? Right?
Mhm.
Why is it that one? It's because that one touches my shadows. It touches a part that I've repressed because I've
And
been
that's
told so
probably and that's probably why the person would be brought into your life to test your
for you to
shadows.
learn. Yes, that's exactly it. That is like the process of life. And once you see that, though, it's powerful if you're willing to look at yourself and sometimes hurt, and sometimes go, "Oh my God, I'm an a-hole." I mean, in my case, that yeah, I can be. I like sometimes I go, "Holy moly, wow, what did I just say?" Because that's the way I was brought up. But being conscious of it makes a difference. You kind of go, oh, okay, well, wait a
It's
minute,
kind of
like,
it's kind of like let's say you were going to go and do a sky jump thing, bungee jump whatever. It's
mm-hmm.
kind of like when you get to the edge, you're ready to go, but then it's like, "No, wait." And then
It's
yeah, I'm
true.
going. But oh,
That's
no,
true.
no, it changed my mind. Like you, you until you actually take the jump, you don't
Yes.
realize, wow, what
Yes.
what the hell I was lingering for? Why didn't I just jump? This is amazing.
There
But you
was a
have to
meme.
allow yourself to go off the edge.
Yeah.
Jump. Always
There
jump.
there was a meme that showed somebody on a cliff with a big hand coming from behind to push them off the cliff, and another big hand ready to catch them at the bottom, like under where they would fall.
Hmm.
And it was like just showing, like, yeah, where you're at the edge of the cliff, and it's like, no, it's okay, just jump. Like, it's fine. You'll be okay. Jump. Take it, that jump. It's important, that jump. Um,
If you just joining us, I see they have some the numbers are changing frequently. So let us know in the comments if you have any questions, or if you don't have any questions, just tell us hi, where you from, let us know you're here, and like and share the live.
Yeah, you're smarter than me.
Um,
You went and checked.
Tonight we're talking about shadow work and traumas. And just I'm gonna just do a little mention because we kind of changed our show up a couple times before we came on. I was supposed to have someone come with me, come here in the live and talk to y'all tonight with me. Someone that I'm writing a book with. So we're gonna have her on at a different time, and we are writing a book about traumas, childhood traumas. And it's entitled um "In the Shadows of My Family Tree." So that'll be available early next year. Uh, and we'll come back and talk about the book on another live soon.
and I will be writing posts on Facebook. Stay tuned. That is the extent. You are writing book after book like that. I find that incredible. I uh,
I think you can write a book, Frank. I don't know what you're waiting on.
I keep on just wanting to copy and paste all my posts that I do on Facebook and just
But
shove them in a book.
listen, why don't you just log in and put it to like read your words and let it type it out, and you can just talk
I
it
know.
out. I think you'd have a book done in like maybe an hour.
Oh God, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. No, because when I speak, it's all over the place. Like that's the one challenge with me
Yeah,
is what.
putting the chapters together and deciding what goes where.
Yeah, it comes out like I've also I've thought often about doing a like an interview series or something to kind of, but including like the life story that goes with it, because I think a lot of it, like there's parts of what I feel I've attained anyways, or like the level of comfort in my life that I've come to. Um, some of it comes from practices like meditation and energy work and stuff like that. But some of it, it's different. Like yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it comes from
Meditation is
different
very
places.
important. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
and also I can say, while we're on, all these topics that we talk about kind of go hand in hand with the other one. But
Yeah.
let me just say that meditation is a good thing for helping to heal your traumas. Um,
Oh yeah.
Doing meditation regularly will help you to withhold anger and see situations differently. Just, it's a
You
good practice.
detach. You detach from the situation. That's the strength.
Yeah.
Is you're able to now look at the situation and not be in the situation. You know what I mean? That's my like what I've found as the best explanation is now you're able to look at your thoughts and look at your what things you have to deal with and not feel them so much, like not constantly be invaded by them, like, and you breathe better. That's not a small thing. We all need to breathe better. We all breathe like crap. It's because you know what happened. I have a theory on this. Like stress, basically, we're always talking about stress as the the killer right now. Well, less these days because we have all kinds of other killers. But but usually we talk about stress being the killer, and it's yeah. I'm losing my train of thought again. I keep on wanting to talk about things and then I don't remember
That's
them.
okay. I do that on a daily basis.
They're not important. They're not on topic, I guess. That's why. It's because my brain is trying to go other places. I'm ADHD for those who don't know. So,
I'm just trying to share though.
but yeah, okay. So I do agree that I take pretty extreme examples sometimes on things. But nonetheless, like we still though as humans right now, I think. Okay, here's a theory I have. I think as humanity, like as a collective right now, we're going through shadow work. Because like I say, shadow work is being able to look at all the parts of you and say, this is what I am. Now, what do I do with it is because even let's assume for a moment, like taking, like extreme examples, that somebody who's done really bad stuff would do shadow work. They may become a person that wouldn't do those things anymore.
But that's when like an awakening comes into play, because let's say someone had done real bad things and then maybe they caught a terminal disease, and so they start questioning um life and religion and everything under the sun, is there heaven and hell? Am I going to hell? They start trying to get answers. Um, Now I lost thought about what I was about to say, just like you. Um,
Well, we'll get there.
oh
What were
God, my mind just went blank.
Yeah, we have great ideas, but
We talking about shadow work, so let's say that now I don't even remember the story I told.
we both think faster than we speak. That's our problem. We speak fast,
Oh
like we
my
don't
God,
speak fast
Jill, wake
enough.
up. Okay.
It's okay.
Um.
Well, we were talking about humanity waking up, anyways. Like as
Yeah.
doing their shadow work, like because right now what's
Okay. So
happening?
now I remember you said that someone that did bad things may not ever do shadow work, and I said
No,
that
no,
it's
no.
not. You
I
said something
meant
similar to that. I don't know
they
exactly what you
could do
said.
shadow work, and once they do shadow work, whatever was there that made them react in the way they did before would not exist anymore. Like I said, somebody that has an anger issue, they might snap and kill someone, right? But
Hmm.
if they realize that they're an angry person and they do their shadow work regarding their anger, they're no longer a dangerous person because they've dealt with that part of themselves.
Hmm.
They've put it back where it belongs. They have the capability still to be an angry person, right? That's not gone.
Well, it can be anger, but maybe it could be a calm person that was raised in an angry household that learned these traits.
Well, yes, there's more than yes, but that's where the difference is. I was in such a household. Why am I not going around beating up people?
Because you're
I grew up
awakened.
in the same household. But
But
the difference is I took it
there,
differently.
yeah, there's a path to take, and I'm gonna say that it's half and half, probably.
But
Probably
look
half
where
go bad and half are like, I don't want this shit.
well,
Let me
my
go this
anger was in
way.
my shadows. My anger was in my shadows, but I wasn't one of those angry guys that goes around beating the crap out of people. I was
Hmm.
passive aggressive. So I was not I wouldn't get angry. But when I did, I would snap. Like it was ridiculous. I would, like let you get away with, stepping on 1,000 of my boundaries. And then on the 1,000th one, I would flip out and call you an idiot, call you all kinds of names because you don't respect me. And it's like, well, if I never said anything, then for that person, that's the first time they ever hear about it. And they're like, why the hell are you flipping out all of a sudden? This is something that I've done 1,000 times and you never said nothing. Why are you flipping out right now? Right? Like people always perceive their side of the story. But even when I'm the one experiencing a story, I'm trying to learn now to look still at the other person's side and go, what are they seeing? Like people will be like my ex or whatever, like will people will get angry, right? And you're like, okay, what have I done? What is it that they see me as having done or having? And I'm not saying I have to agree with them. I mean, I don't a lot of times, right? But I also don't always disagree with them because I go, okay, yeah, from their standpoint, from where they're coming from, what needs they have that maybe were not met when they were with me, whatever it was, right? Whatever dynamic brought it about, I can go, yeah, okay, I've got my own share of it. And that's what I want to look at. Never their share. I'll do it because I get angry, I get involved, whatever. But their share is not for me to fix. Their share is for them to fix, and my share is for me to fix. Um, but yeah, just looking at yourself. It always comes back to the same thing. Is your microphone off?
I had to tell Fisher to take a bath so he could stop crying.
Okay, that's why I saw your mouth
And
moving.
I
I
had to
was
say
like,
it
okay.
loud. So
Oh.
I turned my mic off.
Because I
When
saw
I
your
say
mouth
take a
move.
bath, he's running under the bed.
I saw your mouth move. I'm like, oh,
Take a
what's going
bath.
on? Do we have anybody watching us?
Yeah, there's a few people in here. Let us know you're in here in the
Say hi,
comments.
people. We really like it when you say hi.
And it helps to boost the live too if people are commenting.
Okay, guys, I'm not saying it's actually going to be a reality, but it's something I mentioned to Jill at some point. Would anybody be interested if at some point we had a contest to win either some of Jill's services or my coaching for X amount of time or whatever? Um, we're willing to do some of these things, right? Like I think
Hmm.
I think we're on the same page here. Oh, look at that,
Hello.
Penelope. I really like that name. That's a cool name.
Yeah, we can set something like that up. But how are we running the contest, and how long is it running?
I
Like,
didn't say
what's
we
the
had a
stipulation?
contest yet. I
Oh,
just said it was an idea. Like I don't know if it's something that would interest people, if it's something that would I mean, uh, but if they are interested, that's something we might be able to run. Um,
so everyone, this week
you're
we
welcome.
are going. I mean, this week, this month we are going to keep our topics into like the mystical type stuff, spiritual stuff, um, which we always talk about that. So I don't even know why I said that. But
it's because
what
we
I'm
were
trying to
supposed to
say
keep
is
it
that
to
I
the
want to have a
spirit
Halloween
stuff.
celebration. Yeah,
It's because we kind of messed up. We were supposed to keep it in the spirit theme, and we kind of
yeah,
just went away from it.
yeah,
We're very spur of the moment people,
yeah.
people. So just
Like if one of us is
be
sick, we
patient
don't have
with
a
us.
backup plan that we just won't air that night.
But in case anybody's not has not noticed, it's okay. I can probably talk about any topic for any amount of time. Um,
And
it's both a fault and a quality.
next week we're gonna be live on the 20th.
That is true. Eh? That's just before. That's no. That's the no. There's another one before
We're the
Halloween.
11th today, right?
Yes, we are all day.
Okay, so we're not coming back till Thursday next week. That's the 20th. Because we
That's
don't
it.
do
Yeah, yeah.
Thursday this week, right?
No, it's Thursday the 20th, and then after that it's the 25th on the Tuesday.
Right, right. The 20th, that's Draven's birthday.
Perfect. So so what else? What else can we add on trauma shadows? What is there anybody that has questions? Anything? Any comments you'd like to do? Any experience you have? Any examples you'd like to? Anything you guys want to say? Like I mean, we'd like to have a conversation with you guys. Like it would be. I'm really
Anyone
sorry.
wants to
I'm
come on
old.
the live and talk with us?
I apologize in advance. I use that term a lot, and I'm learning to not like it. But I do use the term guys a lot, and
He's northern.
I'm aware that you're not all guys, and I should probably stop using it. But I'm old, so
That's a northern thing. Down here we say y'all,
y'all. All right, I'll use that. I'm okay with that.
if you remember it.
That's all right, y'all.
Y'all. Hee-haw.
I can do it. I'll try to come up with some weird Southern expressions too, if I can
Y'all come
manage it.
back now, you hear?
Yeah, that's it. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know that I can pull it. Just the same as I can't pull a British accent, like to save my life. Or
um, Well, since we're on the topic subject, do we know what the other topics are in October gonna be? Or
We don't yet. So,
so the
does anybody
25th
have
is
any
the last
ideas?
show before Halloween, right? Yeah.
Anybody want to give us ideas of topics you'd like to hear us talk about?
So I think should I ask you live or should I ask you in private? Because you never know what I'm gonna say.
I don't know. Um, send me a text or something. But okay, so shadow work. Nobody has questions. Nobody. Okay, what else can I say about those topics?
Well, you can talk about traumas on how to like.
Oh, here's okay. Yeah, yeah. Actually, here's what exercises, practical stuff. Like, would you guys like to hear practical stuff? Like, how do I get that stuff working in my life? Um, okay, traumas. My recommendation with most traumas, it doesn't always apply, but it should apply to a lot. Whoever it is that whoever it is that the anger, the hurt, the whatever it is that you're constantly reliving, whoever it's attached to, write a letter to that person. Now, I'm not saying send a letter to that person. I said write a letter to that person, and that's very different because you may write a letter that you do not wish to send that person. However, what you're going to write in that letter and what's going to come out on paper is going to be extremely freeing because it's going to be out from inside of you. And that is one very effective way to deal with traumas. Beware when you write that letter, things might get a little emotional and a little hard. It's not an easy exercise.
And also sometimes when we do like cord cutting meditations and stuff like that, we do something similar, but we just say it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of this is that even let's say you have someone that you have an issue with, they caused you harm or whatever the case is, and you need to forgive, not for them but for yourself to be able to
Mm-hmm.
move on. Um, Sometimes we don't feel like we can forgive someone until we say our piece and we say what we want to say. So by did you touch something? Okay. The sound went
Yeah, it
off and
was
came
my
back on.
mic.
So by expressing yourself in a letter is like letting those words out and all the things that you may not be able to say to a person. It's not important that you actually say it to the person. That's why it's not important that you send a letter. It's just important that you get it out of your head, and you need to also understand that even if you had the chance to say whatever it is to whoever it is, that may be a wasted cause anyway because you can't change somebody else with your words, but you
Shelly
can
says
change
she's here.
yourself.
Sorry,
What?
I said Shelly says she's here.
Hey, Shelly.
Hi, Shelly.
Shelly's the one I'm writing the book with.
Mm-hmm.
So I told everyone a minute ago that we were doing a book entitled "The Shadows of Our Family Tree," and we're gonna talk back on the show later about it when Shelly can come on with me. Um, it's gonna be about childhood traumas. If anyone's interested, you can contact either Shelly or myself if you're interested in sharing your story because this book is gonna be based on interviews from different traumas that people have. You don't have to use your real name, so if it's something you don't want everybody to know about, um, that's fine. We can use a fake name. If anybody's interested in sharing with us, just contact us.
I have a whole collection of them. But I love every single one of them. They come up sometimes. You know, that's another thing, guys. Look, traumas, they'll come up at times, and it's gonna hurt, and you're gonna cry, and it's okay, right? You can go on with your day and experience, like it's happened to me that I've, for no reason, at some point in my day, something happened. I don't know. Something triggered one of my traumas, and I became sad. I became whatever. And I just kind of went, all right, this sucks. This doesn't feel good. But guess what? I got to keep on, doing my groceries or whatever it was, right?
Hmm.
Like, I sometimes say, I don't know if the sentence makes any sense, but maybe that should be on one of our shirts. Because I say it all the time. I say, you need to learn to suffer. Like, it's something people need to do.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
suffer poorly. And because we need to know that sometimes things hurt. Sometimes they do. Like, we just kind of, we get through it, right? Like, we're equipped for it. And
Hopefully
so,
next week we'll introduce our merch store to y'all, and y'all can see Frank's famous words.
yeah.
Fix your shit and positive will follow.
But I almost like the other one better. So you know what? Like that's the thing, though. I mean, part of the reason of where I am, like I know I brought up some dark stuff about the shadow work, but it's like part of what makes me who I am is the ability to look at myself that way and to say, hey, wait a minute. Like I could be a horrific person if I chose to. Obviously, I choose not to. And that's the power of doing shadow work, is discovering parts about yourself that you don't like and then saying, no, I am that person, but I don't have to be.
Hmm.
Right? I can choose to not act that way today, even though I am that person. So I have an anger, but I don't have to react to my anger. I don't have to, it doesn't have to trigger. I can control it. I can say, okay, it's something I have. I need to be mindful. And then I go, oh, that usually would trigger me. What am I doing now? Right? And you read, like,
And a good thing to do in place is meditate to give your mind
yes,
time to calm down. Because a lot of times when we have disagreements with people, it's on the spot, and we probably bring up things that don't even have to do with what the disagreement's about throughout it. Um, so it's a good idea to give yourself time to cool off rather than saying something that you don't mean.
hmm yes. But that's not always, like, that's the thing, right? Sometimes people don't. It's because of our shadows and our traumas that we differ on our abilities, right? To handle different situations in different ways and whatever. So something that might make one person explode will mean nothing to another person, right?
Hmm.
Because to them it's not the same triggers, right? Like if in my house I grew up in a house where anytime you weren't polite, like, you know, all hell broke loose. You got punished in the most brutal ways, whatever, right? When that happens, when anything happens that touches on that, my reaction will be way out of proportion to what's actually happening. Because what I'm seeing is a whole bunch of programmed crap that imprinted itself at that time. Like there was a misinformation, like there was a misprint that happened, and I carry it, and all of a sudden, every time I hit something that challenges that misprint, it makes me explode. Like, and I just go like, oh my god, those are the, and it's funny, right? Because a lot of times you'll hear people talk about their own triggers, right? And what they'll say is, um, like, oh, like in couples, right? Especially, like, sadly, you hear more guys because it's more typical to hear those situations, but you'll hear them like, oh, well, it's because, like she hits my triggers. And it's like, yeah, they're your triggers. They're not anybody else to hit or not hit. They're for you to remove, because now you're aware that they're there. So when you snap at somebody, like, yeah, it happens, right? Like, let's say you start off from a place where you came from anger. You're going to be full of anger. But what you learn along the way is all of a sudden you snap at one place and you kind of go, oh crap, wait a minute, that was not a good place. And you kind of, you relearn, right? You allow yourself to know that you have that problem. You will make mistakes along the way, but you will try to correct yourself, right? So as you move forward, now you make mistakes, but you know that you're human, you make mistakes, and you go, all right, let's keep moving on. And that's a strength. It's forgiveness for ourselves. Like, really, that's... Nick
Check the
says,
comments
sorry he's late. Hi, Nick. What did you say, Jill?
to check the comments.
Well, that was the last one, was Nick. And then
Oh, my
Shelly
camera
says
went
she's in
off.
that process now. Oh, you're doing like a lot of shadow work? We're talking. Okay, that's to answer Nick. We're talking about shadow work and traumas tonight. Um, we've already covered a fair bit, but yeah, those are the topics where. Now here's okay. So for shadow work, like tools for shadow work, okay, there's what I've already mentioned. You can always like take okay, people learn to journal. I'm not saying that like you don't have to, but just personally, that's one of the very
It's
few
the best
tools that I tell
therapeutic.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, learn to write about yourself. It sounds weird at first, and you go, what? But as you learn to write about yourself, you learn to look at yourself. As you learn to look at yourself, you start discovering a whole lot of stuff about yourself because you just weren't looking before. You were looking at others from yourself. But when you look at yourself from yourself, you get a different experience of yourself. I sometimes say things that make sense.
Pretty often.
That one was okay. Um, but yeah, it
Any topics y'all want to hear about in the month of Halloween? What do y'all think about?
okay. Maybe later. All right. Well, maybe they have as much imagination as we do, because we haven't come up with a topic.
I can think of some. I just don't know if it. I just want to make sure it's something that people want to hear about.
Where we go when we die.
I like to
That's a
hear about where you
multi-level
think we go
one.
when we die.
That's a multi-level question. I think we both share a common problem on that one. We both have multiple views that we accept as truth that don't even always agree with each other. Am I wrong? Because we both talk reincarnation, but we also talk about, the spirit of the dead being there, and we all like, so it all happens in different temporal realities, but it works for us.
We can make. Have we talked about that in the past?
Where we go
Because
when we do, well, I mean, we've touched on, it's hard for me to talk about, anything spiritual without at one point or another bringing up reincarnation.
because
But,
I mean I can give you my views on my what I think. Um,
yeah.
but the short story is wherever you think you're going is where you're going.
In some sense, yeah, that kind of makes sense too. Well, okay, but it needs to be qualified a little bit, though. Okay,
Yeah, that's the
there's a
short answer.
flexibility. There's a flexibility that is important. when people say we are one, that's where you kind of have to start every idea is to say we're one. And so everything that else is all like icing over the cake. It's not actual cake. It's just how we make the whole reality be. But it exists in itself, but in all shapes, in all forms already. We just kind of like we make it happen in ways.
So
Yeah,
since everyone has different
I'm
thoughts on
going
where they go,
places
do
now.
they all go to different places? Um, Let me see how I'm going to answer this without confusing people. And these are my views, okay? Um, so this is where things in the spiritual world get so complicated for me because I know how
They
I
get
think about
complicated
it,
for
but I
everyone.
don't know how to explain it to people. Um, so in my opinion, when someone dies, um, their spirit goes up to what we would know as heaven. Um, Now the thing about that is our spirit doesn't fully incarnate. A piece of our spirit will fall off and incarnate into a body, goes back up to what we know as heaven. What heaven is to us would be whatever we wanted it to be. Like this goes in with like your imagination. Like since everything is perfect, if you imagine it to be a certain way, that's how it would be. That doesn't necessarily mean that we would be in different places, although we could, because we could be on different realms. But that's not what that means. What that means would be that you may be with someone you want to be with who, let's use Jill and Russell as an example. Russell loves to fish. Jill loves to be in the front of the computer teaching people. Okay.
Hmm.
So his place when he dies would be he would be sitting down fishing. Jill would not be sitting down fishing. So does that mean we're not together? No. We could be together, but we have two different imaginations. So in a sense, yes, everyone goes different places, but in another sense, no, they don't. Because they can be together but have separate imaginations. Am I making any sense to anybody?
Me, you're making sense to me. I so want to answer Nick's question with like some kind of Zen Buddhist twist answer.
Well, answer it in your way, because your way
Because I
is
want to
what's
answer it with
in my
another
mind.
question. I want to answer. So the question is: so since everyone has different thoughts on where they go, do they all go different places? And my answer is, well, if everybody has different thoughts on where we live right now, are we all in different places? Because
Yes
that
and no.
is our reality right now. Is we all have different thoughts on where we are,
Right.
and so that never changes.
But you can see how it you see how it can be and can't be at the same time?
That is the challenge of okay. One of the things Jill said was it's hard to explain, and the reason it's hard to explain is it's because it's like a taste. It's when we talked the other week about the levels of consciousness. That was what I was trying to get at some point was that they're experienced. So as you meditate, for example, you experience the ability to look at yourself from a different view. And that can't be described. That cannot be, you can only learn to meditate and get that experience and be able to look at yourself that way. You
Mhm.
can't just wish to look at yourself that way. You can't just discuss looking at yourself that way. It's not going to do it. You meditate and you reach that point, right? And so every other experience is also the same thing. You reach a point where all of a sudden it kind of just integrates with you and you go, oh, for God's sake, really? That's what? And
Because when we die, we have our consciousness, but not our body. So like our consciousness is just energy. It's like it's just light.
mhm.
So it's not like I don't even know how to
I
freaking
use
explain that.
silence to I use science to explain that one. To me, basically, what most people call God, what I call source sometimes, what like that source of it all.
And it
To
can be
me,
called whatever. It's the same thing.
yeah, yeah,
That's just like his name is Francois, and I call him Frankie, and he might tell you to
that's
call
very
him
true.
Frank. He's the same person, no matter what we call him.
Yes,
God, the universe, spirit, um, light, the divine. It's all the same
the
thing.
universe,
You
like
can call it whatever you want.
now I've lost my train of thought though.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's happened to both of us like 3 times tonight. That's perfectly okay. Um, oh yes, okay. So to me, source basically the closest I've come to being able to qualify it in some way is through science, is by saying that it's the same when you learn in physics about energy. You learn that something starts off as potential energy. So it's nothing, it's not moving, it's not doing anything, but it has the potential to move or to, create an action. You drop it. Let's say it's a ball, and we'll forget about a million other laws of physics, but we'll keep it like we drop a ball. Now that potential energy is going to become kinetic energy because it's now a ball in movement. So there's an energy for the movement that gets transferred. And then it becomes, like, it hits the ground, it becomes heat, it becomes displacement. All kinds of other energies are created from it. And so everything is always just a transfer of energy. So we start from the ultimate potential energy, the ultimate potential of everything that could ever be. And then it all happens and returns. That's the closest. It doesn't do that process, and scientists have sort of like studied the theory that things expand and contract. There's flaws, but no, it doesn't physically do that. But it's the best image we have to explain sort of like how it expands and retracts like at the same time and fast. So so we are God experiencing himself or itself or herself, or I don't know. There's a list of pronouns now, but we're it experiencing itself, and each of our experience is very unique. No two of us has the same experience of our world.
Right.
And so it's experiencing all those experiences, plus those of, if you believe in such things, I do, angels, other beings, like all kinds of other layers of existence, it's experiencing all at the same time. And that's the thing, that we are in dense matter, so we've removed ourselves from being equipped to handle that kind of information very well. So we go, it's what? We don't, our brains don't want to, our ego is going like, what do you mean? No, I'm the boss. And we have a lot of conflict with that information. But that's our task, right? Is to walk the earth and remove those conflicts and become at peace with our process. But humanity, yes, shadow work. Okay, so that's my theory. Humanity right now is doing shadow work. We're discovering every deviance we have. We're discovering everything we are. We're discovering it, right? Because we're all coming on the internet and either doing crazy weird stuff or doing like exceptional stuff, and we're all we're all taking that mirror effect I was talking about and putting it on steroids. We've amplified it like by 1,000,000, because now I can't go anywhere without being exposed to everything. Like, we're just out in the open. And I think that's what humanity needed. I think in some way we're going to come to terms with it, and we're going to go, okay, so this is what we are, this is what our needs are, this is what, this is where all the dominoes fall. Okay, now let's look at who we are and how we best deal with that. Because before we didn't deal with it, we pretended it didn't exist, right? Now we're forced to see it. Everything exists. Everything is
Okay,
out.
so I have an idea of how people can get into the raffle.
Okay.
How about
Well, I didn't have a raffle. Okay, you see, you do that. I love that. I love that about you.
how
I
about
come up with an idea. You finalized it within like by the time I'm done thinking about it.
okay, so how about to be entered in our raffle, you go and like each of our Facebooks and our Facebook page. Go like our Facebook page and our YouTube pages, which are listed. Is that listed in the comments? No, huh?
Not yet. No. So maybe we'll
Yeah, we'll
okay,
do the
here's the
link.
your first task should you choose to accept will be to come back next week where we'll have a lot more information.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I don't think we'll be able to make something like that size like that easily, but
yeah.
yeah, let's but we're gonna come up with something, you guys, so that you can win like some of our services and whatnot, because like that is something we've realized that we have to offer, and we would like to create some incentive for people to come back, and hopefully the conversation itself is interesting.
And if
Um,
anyone that's in the South Louisiana area is in need of services for ministry for funerals or for
Hi.
um nuptials, wedding, getting married, you need someone to officiate. Oh my God, my words are not working. Officiate a wedding. I won't screw up my words, I promise. But you can contact me. Um, just throwing that out there.
But that word is actually, you know what? It's surprisingly easy to trip on that one. I've tripped often on that word. It just has that weird officiate, like you kind of it's like forced.
Yeah. So I'm happy to travel within the area for those services.
Cool. And
Hello.
Jessica says hi. Yeah.
So we're talking about childhood traumas, well, any trauma really, and shadow work. Have you done any shadow work, Jessica? And then we're also trying to figure out what topics we're gonna have for the month of October.
Right up my
Right up
alley,
her
she says.
alley.
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's not anyone that can come here and say they don't have any traumas. Like, whether it be minimal or, there's no way someone goes through life without some sort of trauma.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean that some are a lot worse than others, but we all have things that we have to deal with in life.
So we've all just oh, it said we froze for a second, so she heard none of that.
Why does
I
that
hope
keep
that doesn't
happening?
happen too much. Hmm. Okay, so which part did she miss then? We've been really bad at this tonight. Trying to go back on the things we're saying because we're just I guess we're on a roll. So what were you saying when she came in?
I was announcing the ministry thing for weddings and
Yeah, that's
funerals.
true. All right. So yeah, so shadow work. So it was basically tonight. Everybody shared one by one in the chat, Jessica. So it's your turn. No, I'm joking.
And so, just so you know, our slogan is "Fix your shit and positive will follow."
That's our slogan. Okay,
Those are the
I
famous
guess it's
words
gonna
of
stick.
Francois.
Okay, should we keep that as our slogan? I don't know if it sounds too vulgar or if it doesn't. So let's ask. Let's do that. Should be our a poll for tonight.
Yeah, is does anyone have a
Should
like
that be
or a
our?
dislike for that slogan? Let us know in the comments. fix your shit and positive will follow.
That's something I said at some point because people always talk about positive, and it's like, no, you're working it in reverse. You
So
don't
what
try
I would
to.
like to do, um, probably
Yeah, what?
for either either like Christmas or New Year's. I'm not sure what the schedules could be then, but for one of those, I would like to give one of our shirts away and have it
Yeah,
sent
that could
to
be
you.
fun.
Um so we could add that and I think it would be a good idea to do it like Christmas or New Year's cuz people like giving for the holidays.
So how about I thought of another one. That one's is typically is anybody in here an empath? Do we have other empaths? That's going to be one of our topics, but we're saving
Yeah,
it for
we all
Christmas
are in some way, I think.
because Christmas is a very, very different,
Time of
very
year.
tough time for empaths, and so we're saving it for around Christmas to
Yeah,
tell
a lot of
people like
times
what is an
people
empath. And
with that are strong empaths have trouble during the holiday season, so that's going to be a holiday show for sure.
Jessica says she's an empath as well. Yeah, that's a very and it's a very very important topic. Like I think I also think like that's my own theory, and probably because I'm an empath, so I kind of went down that rabbit hole a bit. But I think like I think all of us, any of us with any kind of abilities or any kind of like the kind of paths we have, we're sort of given, we have a purpose. It may not even be obvious to us, but and I think empaths, in our ability to absorb emotions, we, and I say absorb, and right away I want to correct myself because we're not absorb, well, hopefully we're not absorbing them, we're observing them. There's a way to let them, to feel them but not feel them. Anyways, that'll be on that special. But where was I going with this crap? Yes, like our purpose is actually to share the burden with humanity in some respect. Like, you know what I mean? People tend to come to us and be like, they'll dump on us practically. Like, they'll just come and be like, oh my God, like, we're at like, literally, you know, you're at Walmart and people come up to you and they're like, oh my God, you won't believe what happened, like, blah, blah. And you're like, and for some reason, we all seem to have this ability to listen, and this thing that we kind of just do eye contact and lock with them and listen. And so we get people jump on us all the time like that. But it's I think it's part sometimes of what we are. On some energetic level somewhere, we're like a heat sink for emotions. So what people have that they can't deal with, we get some of the extra, and that's why we feel it. It's a weird. I know I get in weird theories sometimes. But we also have a purpose, which is to help humanity, because we're all people that have suffered.
Mhm.
And I think one of our purpose is actually, oddly, to teach humanity how to suffer. Because they're going to suffer right now. That's what's going to happen. Like, they're going to have really, really tough time. And we've been there. So we're going to have less of a tough time. But it's going to be a tough time. But for those that never have gone through tough times, we'll be the guides. We'll be the ones going, oh yeah, that's fine. I've been there. Right? And I don't know. It's those are the things, like, I think about the world and I think all kinds of crazy things, and I get this one.
Frank, are you
Yeah.
good with doing tarot readings the week of Halloween?
Me? I know I sometimes give the impression I can read the tarot, but I can't. I don't do tarot readings. Uh, I
You
don't.
just played the tarot game last night, Frank.
Yes, I know, but I don't do tarot readings. I just not for. I don't know. I just don't. Tarot for me is a thing that's exceptionally And it's not because it is supposed to be that way or anything like that, but it's just for me. It's a very personal thing. It's a thing that I only do.
Okay, so maybe I'll do
Um,
a couple readings on the Halloween night. That's going to be the 25th. We have
I don't know.
one
I'll probably jump in and try to say stuff,
live
but
before that. Our next live is October 20th. That's next week on Thursday, and we haven't decided on the topic yet. Then the following Tuesday, which is October 25th, it's going to be our Halloween show. And we're going to have lots of special things going on in that show as well.
here's what. If everybody watching says that I should, I'll do readings.
There's a circle member that's offering to come and read on the show on Halloween week.
I can read if everybody says I should.
You should. You should also be in the circle.
But I don't know if I'll be able to. I
Right.
don't read for. Well, no, I never read for people. I never do. I just. Yeah, I have
You
a
lost
hard
your
time
friend.
tying the. I perceive the energies of the card, but I have a hard time wording it. You know how like you guys weave it into a nice little story, sort of. I.
Jessica says do
Jessica
readings,
wants me
Frank.
to. Yeah. Per pressure, yes, indeed. That's okay. I bend to peer pressure because I really don't mind. But I don't know. All right, I guess I will. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Anybody else? Do we have anybody else who's still here? Do you get numbers or something? I never see nothing. You're smarter than me. That's why. You have all kinds of pages open.
Jessica thinks you should be in the circle.
Where did I? What? Oh, that's why I should join Circle. I know. I know. I heard that before. I've been told. Um, I'm way too much of a mess. Are you kidding me?
Frank, I think we should also be dressed up on the 25th.
Oh, really? I don't
Like,
have any
go get
costumes.
yourself a white sheet, throw it over your head. You could be a little ghost.
About as good as it gets. I don't know. What else do I have? What else do I have? I'll dress as a woman.
Turn
That
your
would
mic up a
be.
little bit.
Oh, I said I'll dress as a woman. I did that when I was younger. I got hit on. That was a little freaky. It was weird. He probably felt way worse than I did, though.
We definitely gonna have some. Jessica, you cool with dressing up?
Don't do the white sheet. Next up, we did tarot a few weeks ago, but we were talking about doing it again because it's such a huge topic.
But we're gonna bring Jessica on screen with us, right?
For the tarot?
For the 25th. Like, I'm gonna mark her down as a guest.
Okay, for the readings. Okay,
If
cool.
that's cool with you.
Yeah, I'm good with that. No, I hate Jessica.
Are
Will
you
never
gonna
do
dress
it.
up, Jessica?
You have grown ears in the last short
Yo, I've been. What is
while.
that? That's my little cousin.
Oh, that's your cousin. Oh, that's funny.
I didn't even know they were right here. Jessica. What is that?
Why not? What? No, no,
You
no.
don't
I hope
stink,
you're
so
not
I gotta
talking
make
to
sure
me.
you
I,
didn't
I,
bring a
I
stick to
actually
my
like
house.
you, Jessica. I was just being silly.
Um,
I feel really bad if you
you
were
borrow
asking
yeah.
me why I don't like you. So,
Yeah.
so yes. Okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
would be cool then. And we'll do readings.
Wait,
How
I'm
do
gonna
we do?
lie.
So, how do we? Okay, why not dress up? Okay, I feel better.
Give me 1 second.
We each have side conversations going. We have a very interesting show in that respect. Um, but it's all right. So we lost Jill. Um, okay, what else can people do for shadow work or trauma work? Now I'm gonna draw a blank, eh? Now that I'm alone.
Sorry, my kid just came in and was talking to me, and I'm like, I'm on a live.
You can't leave me alone like that. I fell apart.
I'm sorry. Um,
I wasn't very good.
so now I forgot
What?
what I was saying.
What out,
What
Jill, for
out
those
Jill for
swap
those
people?
swamp people? Swamp people, I think she means.
That a southern thing?
So I think we should like do the readings, but I also think we should talk about the differences in cemeteries from Canada and from really a lot of places in the United States down to Louisiana because we have different kind of cemeteries here.
Well, you guys have different cemeteries for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's because of your climate. I learned that not long ago.
No, it's because of the hurricanes because you might float up.
That's your climate. It's yeah, yeah. I learned that on the radio not too long ago. I was like, oh yeah, that's true. Why do they have those?
Yeah, I actually I had someone come here already um from Georgia for a cook off. And we did. I was like, "Let's go to the cemetery." I brought her to the cemetery, and I was like, "They got caskets in a dumpster." And she was like, "Yeah, right." I said, "You want to bet? I bet you we go ride by the dumpster. They got caskets." Sure enough, they had three caskets in the dumpster.
Really? Oh my god.
We videoed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a little
Oh,
freaky.
that's let's save that for the show. But that's a funny topic.
Yeah, that could work.
Who cried a little? What is she talking about?
I'm not sure. Okay, so who cried? Did I cry a little? Maybe. I do sometimes. It happens, okay? So, okay, so the tarot definitely has to be a topic that comes back as well. Empaths, important. What else?
We can talk a little bit about the tarot next
Intuition.
week.
Intuition, that's a good one. Anybody want to hear about intuition? That's not a good topic. Nobody needs that. Nobody needs that crap.
Of course.
It's not useful. Yeah, intuition is it's you know what? Like it's funny because I would say that 99% of my decisions are taken by intuition. I don't I don't know. Oh. When I said I was lost without
What you
you,
cooking?
I did cry a little, I think. When I was stuck alone. When you left me. It was yeah, intuition. That would be a really cool subject. It's a deep subject. And intuition and its role. Okay, here's my theory, anyways. But when it comes to intuition, to thoughts, and to emotions, like I think those three are part of like this triangle, and they work together, right? Like so, you have your thoughts, which are half of one equation. You have your emotions, which are the other half of that same equation, and then the two come together. But so the thing that leads the two is your intuition, because your intuition always knows better. And so your intuition is what makes you able to look at your thoughts and look at your, it's the yardstick by which you can measure them. If your thoughts are in line with your intuition, they're going the right way. If they're not in line with your intuition, okay, see where the disconnect is. See what's happening here. Yes, honing intuition. It's something I think about a lot. I don't always know how to. I have to really sit down and think about how I bring it online, if you will, or how I sort of came to. Because to me, it happened fairly young. I started being very intuitive very young. I had to survive, I think. so it's hard to know. But I have friends that have exercises that I've learned a little bit, and so we'll be able to come up with a few things there. For me, it's something I've always felt, but it's not something I've always listened to, and that is also key. Like even once you're like, you can learn to be able to listen to your intuition, and you'll perceive it. And meditation again. It always comes back down to meditation for a lot of things, but
Yeah.
meditation will definitely help with that, because you're now, as you do meditation, what happens is again, it's that same trifecta. You're quieting your mind, you're quieting your emotional state, which is now creating space for your intuition to come through. And that's why when you meditate, you kind of by default start developing a little bit of intuition. And then if on top of it you focus on it and you try to listen, it's really, as weird as it may sound, it's really a big question of listening to it. It's opening yourself to it. It's not a thing that you look for, it's a thing that's there. It's like a frequency that's ringing, and it's been ringing the entire time. It's just you haven't tuned yourself to that frequency. And all of a sudden, once you come closer to the frequency, you start vibrating as well. And now all of a sudden, you come in line with that frequency and you vibrate in tune with it, and you're now on that wave. And now your intuition is sort of working, right? That's probably, I assume it's the experience that would be the closest to what people would refer to the opening of the third eye, right? Is you're now lining up with that intuition, and that's powerful because that intuition is your it's your umbilical cord to your higher self in some way. Like it connects you to it, and that's how it'll eventually feed you information, feed you. It's not information; it's a knowing. That part is why I think it comes differently to different people. Like, to be honest, like I don't think it's the same to everybody, but it comes in a weird yeah. For me, it comes in that way. It's true intuition. So yeah, I don't know. Your turn. Tag, you're it. Your mic is off, I think.
I'm testing out the dowsing rods. I was going to see if anybody had any yes or no questions they wanted answered.
Oh, cool.
You, Frankie?
Will I find a girlfriend? Did I
Will? Wait up.
I haven't even thought about that
All
ever.
right, let's
Wow.
concentrate for real.
Sorry.
Because it's telling me no before we start. Wait up.
This might be right.
Will I find. Oh my God. Will Frank find a girlfriend? I moved it. Wait up. I moved it myself. Jessica wants to know if she's going to find a boyfriend. So
There you go.
go.
Maybe we're gonna start a dating agency, the Jill and Frank dating agency.
Will Frank find a girlfriend? I don't think that's determined yet. It's like they're not. Yes.
It
Yes.
probably
Yes, you will.
it's because it depends on what I do. That's why. If I keep sitting at home like this, probably not. If
Will
I
Jessica find a boyfriend soon? Yes, and I think 2 months.
That was a big yes. I'm pretty sure. Like it kind of went a lot more than when it said no to me. It kind of just went woof. So there you go. All right, maybe I don't know. Maybe we can share your boyfriend. I don't know. I've never been gay, but Perhaps exactly. I've thought about leaving the house. I thought it may improve my chances, though I'm not sure anymore because these days it's very difficult. You kind of you meet women and if you say hi, they want to kill you. So
Anybody else have any yes or no questions before I pick these up? These bad boys up?
I've never used
These are
those.
dowsing rods.
I've used pendulums, but not those. People nonsensical. Yes, definitely. It's one of our what people would call a curse, I guess. It's because we're part of the 15% or so that realizes there's more to life than wake up, go to work, watch TV, die. Ooh. Like that's people. I had a guy literally argue with me that that was life. I felt so bad. I don't think I got through to him either. I think he left very convinced that that was it. All there was live, get some entertainment going, make some money. That was it. So there's all those people that, we're probably not likely to date. I assume. Actually, that's not true. I was likely to date them for a long time. So I gotta watch that pattern because I might find somebody absolutely furthest from spirituality as you can think and still be like, oh, she'd be a good choice. I have this ability of making bad choices. Horses, nice. I was just talking with a friend that
Will I ride
not grew
horses
up, but he
again soon?
worked
What
one
did I
of his
do with my
first
dowsing
jobs.
rods?
What's that? Oh, will she?
She's-
Oh, will you ride horses again? Oh, I
Will
hope.
Jessica ride horses again soon? It's gonna be a while.
Maybe my girlfriend will show up riding on a horse and she'll give you the horse.
Frank wants you to show up riding on a horse.
No, not you. That's not what I said. Are you trying to match us
See
now?
how things get changed up so easy though?
Horses. I've only rode a horse once, and I was young, and I got zero control over the horse, so it kind of rode me all day. It was yeah, I know.
They sell those stick ones at Walmart.
If she's a representative of everything else I've seen lately, you can probably keep the girlfriend too.
I
I'll
think
give
I'm
her
gonna
with the
ride a
horse.
broom then at our Halloween show. Jessica, you in Texas, okay? You can be the cowgirl which show up with your stick horsey. I'm gonna be a witch and show up with my broom. Frank, what you gonna be?
Um,
A
God, I
ghost?
don't know. Yes, I'm gonna be a ghost,
Show up
and
without a costume?
no, you won't see me. I'll just hide under my desk all night. I'll keep the audio, so I'll be like talking to you guys, but you won't see me. It's like I'm a ghost. Uh, there you go. That makes sense. Go grab your friend's horse and show up. I like
Yeah.
that. That's cool. You know
My
Canada's a
grandsons are
little
being
righty.
cowboys for Christmas for Halloween.
Wow. So, what else are we talking about?
I guess in the live it's like an hour and 40 minutes that we're on now.
Yeah, that's a fair bit, eh? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, it's because we
Pretty
have a good audience,
later than
that's why.
last week. Just
See,
need some sort of voice altering microphone to give you that Hollywood effect.
do I not already have that Hollywood
You
effect?
don't like our voices?
Both of us, eh? What? That Hollywood
Hello,
effect thing.
hello, hello.
Sadly, if I was going through my mixer, I could put all kinds of effects on my voice. I'm not, though. That's too bad.
I'm excited about the
Maybe I should
Halloween
do
show
that.
now. To be a ghost, Goobert. Goobers.
Govers.
Goober? Goobers?
All right, so what will I be? I don't know. I have to come up with something. My daughter will give me an idea. She'll be good.
I think you should be a magician.
How is that a disguise? No, I don't even have a robe
No,
anymore.
well, it is a disguise because real magicians don't dress up like magicians.
Oh, you'd be
Like you be the
surprised.
cartoon kind.
You'd be surprised. I find they all dress the same. They all wear black. They all have a pentacle.
No,
They all
I
look
meant
the
like the
same.
big black hat with a cape.
Yeah, I know. Some wear that. I've seen them. In big cities, they can be a little special. But yeah,
And
I don't know.
just so
Yeah, but
y'all
I don't
know,
have a cape and all that, and I don't have like, and I'm you get me into
hey,
holidays, really?
if you want to send us your Halloween costume pictures to our email, live with Jill and Frank at AOL.com, we'll pick one of the costumes and show your picture live on the air,
That's why I'm with you. You bring me all kinds of places.
like a
You do all kinds of
costume
stuff.
contest. That would be cool. And
Yeah.
if you win, you can come in and get a tarot reading on the spot.
Yeah.
How that sounds? I hope that sounds good.
Does to me. I'll take the tarot reading. I know. I say I suck at doing my own, and I did okay last night, but I don't know.
So, did we decide what we were talking about next week, though?
No. We'll let Jessica decide. She'll let us know. No, she told us good ideas there. So let's see. I'm going back here. We had. Uh, oh, I think she just gave us more. She told us to talk about peer pressure. No, that wasn't it.
Okay.
uh,
I guess we'll figure it out over the week, and
Intuition,
we'll
yes.
do.
How about we do intuition? That was a good topic.
Okay.
Jessica wants to be the topic. I don't know that I can talk about you for a couple of hours yet.
Okay.
Start by showing
Mm,
up with the horse. We'll have a story.
Save a horse, ride a cowboy.
That's right. Yeah, my friend was just telling me tonight about growing up. Like his first job was working on a farm that they had horses and stuff. It was really cool. Massive dog.
Okay, let's end the live. Thanks
All
for
right.
coming, everyone, and join us back next week, October 20th. I got November 20th written.
That's skipping a
October
month.
20th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, for our next live show. We go live every week, one night Tuesday, the next week, one week Tuesday, the next week Thursday. Um, Next week we'll give you more information about our merch shop that we're in the process of setting up. Don't forget, fix your shit and positive will follow. If you
Well,
have any ideas for topics that you want to hear about, or if you want to appear on our show, shoot us an email. You got the email
and
posted?
no. Wait up. We have it somewhere. Yes. Yes. There it is. That's the email. Now give them a few moments to write that down because that's a
Yeah.
long one
Live
and it
with Jill
doesn't.
and
You
Frank.
can't click on it or
Um,
anything.
Franck.
And I would like to thank you, everybody that
Good night,
participated.
Penelope.
It really helps us, such as Penelope and Jessica and Nick. I don't know if
Yeah,
Nick is
and we'll
still
have
with
more
us, but
details on the giveaway
um,
next week. But if you want to send us Halloween pictures, s- send us some dress up costumes. It didn't have to be from this year, just whatever you have, and we'll choose one. And
sounds
we'll
good.
pick that on the 25th, on the show on the 25th. And that person can get a free tarot reading that night because we're not gonna read everybody in the comments. We'll do like a couple readings for those who are drawn to ensure that you get a reading. Send your picture in. Sounds good.
That sounds perfect. And you guys, if you want to see on Boundless Mind, I have two videos available on the exact topics that we discussed tonight. So if you guys want to go see those, it would help if you like them, if you subscribe, if you any of that stuff. Like my YouTube is ridiculously small, and so any any kind of push in the right direction, like anytime somebody likes a video, it always like bumps it a little bit, or it gives you a little touch of so if you guys see the videos and you like them, feel free to try to just give me that little push so I can do my little dance and show and YouTube can know I exist. It's Boundless Mind.
So I'm just gonna play the video
uh,
again real quick for the
it
disclosure, and then I'm gonna
writes
end it before the
like,
timer.
give me a second. It writes just like we have at the bottom there. It says Inspired Spirit, Boundless Mind. It's written that way. There's also a YouTube under Inspired Spirit, so you guys go see that.
And our
one as well.
Facebook page, Live with Jill and Frank.
And of course, our own personal pages. We're also people.
François Paradis
That's right.
and Jill Petrie.
That
All
was
right,
actually
good
not
night,
bad said.
everyone.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you on the next one.